sorry about that. Yeah. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so we are on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. Last week we did verse 34, and the English translation was, I am all devouring death, means jo sab kuch har leta hai, sarvahara, and the prosperity of those who are the prosperous to be prosperous. But the main meaning of that part was that whatever is going to be coming in the future, I am the cause of it. So it's like life and death, both are in his hand. That's how we have to see. And then it said, among the feminine qualities, I am fame, prosperity, speech, memory, intelligence, firmness, and forgiveness. 7 qualities, but it is a personification they gave of, because in the grammar, it's all female, but that can be for anyone. It's not just only in the women or anything like that. So we should take it correctly, what Krishna Bhagavan is saying. So from that, we go to the next one, next verse, verse 35. Brihat Sam Tatha Samnam Gayatri Chanda Samaham Masanam Margashirshoham Ritunam Kusumakaraha. So, let's see what he's saying now. So before, Bhagwan had already mentioned that among all the Vedas, he's the Samaveda. So now, we saw that Samaveda was the reason he said, because it has a lot of musical things and you can sing it and all that. So Samaveda obviously is Veda, so it's very big, everything. And different portions and different parts are there. So within the Veda, he is said, I am Brihat Sam. So Brihat Sam is some special singing, special mantras, and they are devoted to stuti of the Lord, greatness of Brahman, it seems. And usko gaane ke liye bahut practice chahiye, usme kuch different type ke dhang se wo log gaate hain. I don't know anything about it, but whoever has heard those pandits who do chanting, it can take you to some other level only when they do it correctly and all that. So that's how we have to look at it. So Bhagwan says that among all the mantras of the Sam Veda, I am Brihat Sam. And it is kind of associated with devotion and musical recitation, this Brihat Sam, it seems. And it is also said to be the most majestic and most profound. And they are doing, sung during the yagnas and all that, and they have their own rules, and whoever knows about it. So it is considered the most exalted, the best among the Sam Veda chants, most significant. And it has, somebody said that its musical and spiritual depth is unparalleled, the best. The people who know about them, they can tell the difference. And I'm sure if we hear it also, it might be quite something. And then, what is the symbolism and things like that? The music and sound, they are direct expression of the divine, divine power, you can say, or Nada Brahma, they call it. Even Om is like a sound, right? So this is associated with, primordial manifestation. And so Krishna manifests in the most elevated forms of the sound. That's the symbolism over here. And also, we may not be able to sing it, obviously. We don't know, we have not practiced. But even people who hear the chant, they're with devotion. If you hear the chant, we will get uplifted also. So that's how we have to see it. And it's like it acts as a spiritual purifier, you can say. And then different people have commented on this, like Madhusudan Saraswati says he connected this to Brihat Sama to bhakti, that when it is combined with Shruti, scriptures, and devotion together, it can lead to moksha, according to him. So in a nutshell, Brihat Sama is a means of purification, and it's connected to that Shabda Brahma or spiritual sadhana. So that's how we look at this Brihat Sama. And then Bhagwan says that among Chanda, so Chanda, these different meters, they call it poetry, different mantras. All these things are called Chand in there. So he says that these Chands are there all in the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads and all that. He said, I'm the Gayatri Chand. And, for us Indians, everybody knows about Gayatri mantra. Most of us have memorized it and we always say it and we know it is something extremely special. But here Bhagwan himself is saying that among all this Chand, I am the Gayatri mantra, which is quite amazing. Now you know why it's so popular in India. So it's the most famous, as we know. And this is Bhagwan's Vibhuti, and we all know which one it is, right? Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. That's what it is. And so it's very beautiful, and it seems that Nikhilananji was saying that when you take a student to a teacher to study Vedas in olden days and even maybe now, that it's called Upnayan ceremony, And he was just saying that that's the Upnayan is when you first time take the student to the teacher. But in North India, they do some hangama before the marriage. पहले तो कभी उपनयन किया नहीं, and then they take this this bride to be bridegroom, उसको ऐसे कपड़े वपड़े पहना के कुछ लाठी वाठी दे के, because they did it in Punjab. I saw that. So he's saying it's not that supposed to be like that, कि थोड़ा जल्दी जल्दी कुछ कर लिया. No, it has a very sacred thing, that you taking the student to the teacher, and the first mantra that the teacher gives the student is this Gayatri mantra. So that na significance hai uska. They are supposed to memorize it and all that. So what is the significance? That it purifies our mind, this mantra, and makes us ready to understand the Vedas. Because if you see the content of, and when we read Swamiji's commentary, he told the detailed meaning of it, the footnotes, so we'll read that. Because it's asking for our intellect to get brighter and purer. Because we saw that understanding the Veda, just reading it like that is one thing that's not going to do much for understanding. So it goes deep within us. That's what this mantra does for us. Because those are the words. And it is one of the most ancient prayers for knowledge. And we are invoking the blessings of Bhagwan, and the Surya Bhagwan, we are looking at Surya Bhagwan and saying that Surya Bhagwan is the representation of that Brahman. I would say the most powerful representation of Brahman. If we can, one great Vibhuti, जिसमें आँख से आँख नहीं मिला सकते हम लोग, मतलब इतना power है उसमें. So that's what brilliance is, just unmatched of a sun for us being on the earth. So that's what it is. So the sun, what it symbolizes is the Hiranyagarbha. And we know about the Hiranyagarbha, right? And so we are praying to that, to please illumine my intellect with knowledge. With Dhiyo Yono Prachoya Dayat is that part of it. Because we say it so many times, if we know the meaning, that will be even better. And Nikhilananji was saying that it is, if you really look at it, it's such an amazing prayer, because if you have a pure, good intellect, that is everything for us, But we have come down from that highest type of prayer to something, oh, Bhagwan, mera ye kar do, mera wo kar do, We come down to that. It's elevating you again, reminding you, because Bhagwan is saying that is my vibhuti. So, because he was just saying that if you have a proper buddhi, everything else follows. And he's very funny. I told you he makes a lot of jokes. He's saying, but if you're a buddhu instead of buddhi, then what happens? Even if you are given Swarga ka kingdom or the whole world ka kingdom, it will not do anything for you, right? If your buddhi is not correct, it will be useless for you. So that's why it is such an important thing. And that was a very important thing he said. And then... So he was just saying that actually, technically speaking, which I also don't know how to correctly, chant it. Maybe we should learn that it has to be chanted in a particular way. And if you learn that correctly, it will give the maximum result. But he said that these days क्या हो रहा है सब लोग गा गा के कुछ राग बना के वो सब कर it is fine, it feels nice and all that. But if you go technically to that, Vedas and the Samas, they have to be learnt in a particular way and has to be chanted in a particular way, But for us, even if we meditate upon the meaning of Gayatri mantra and bring that bhavna, that's a absolutely fantastic thing, I know we won't be able to do all that chant, but we can try. Of course, some people can catch up with a lot faster. And then he said that even if you don't know anything else, even morning and evening, sunrise, sunset, you can chant the mantra, it will benefit you. So some tips he's giving for our benefit, And he even said that suppose if you don't know the Gayatri mantra, still if you just go and pray in whatever language you know, even that's better than nothing. Hey, illumine my intellect. Something like that he was saying. So once we pray sincerely, we will see difference and transformation in ourselves, he was saying. And what are some other symbolism? It's, it's made up of 3 lines and 8 syllables. Total 24 syllables. So there's a lot of science in there, which you and I may not understand, but it is there. And some of the other places in other Upanishads and all, they have talked about this mantra, that it's like an essence of Vedas, they say. And in one of the, I think it was Chandogya, he's going to mention it too, Swamiji is going to mention that it's called the mother of Vedas almost, this Gayatri, personified as mother of Vedas. Itna usko importance diya hai. So that's why Krishna Bhagavan identifies with this Gayatri mantra, because it's spiritually potent, universally recited by seekers for inner light and wisdom, and a direct channel of divine consciousness. That's how we have to say. And some of the other great acharyas, like Shankaracharya ji, he said it's the most potent mantra leading to Brahma Gyan, because for his Gyan Marg, And Madhusudan Saraswati ji, he is like a devotional bhakti marg it is. So he said that this illumines the intellect, which is, bhakti jagrit hogi. Like they say in Hare Krishna, that if you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, your bhakti will jagrit ho jayegi. So like that. So he said that that Gayatri mantra will reveal the Supreme Self within the hearts of the devotee if you continue to chant it with bhavna and understanding the meaning and all that. So that's why it is called the core of Vedic knowledge, that it integrates Gyan and Bhakti, actually, if you think about it, both, And so that's why it's called direct Gyan, path to Brahma Gyan. And it's inner illumination, you already talked about it, intellect and awakening. Now, one more thing before we would go to the next thing, that what is the meaning of Gayatri? So we know Gayati means to sing, right? And Tra, the word Gayatri, Trayate se aaya hai, wo means to protect. So that's how this Gayati plus Trayate se aaya, Gayatri ban gaya wo. And the way we have to look at it, that one who sings this gets protected. See that how, so that we have heard about Gayatri mantra so much, but now we can learn the meaning that because the words are so potent, it will protect you. That's a very beautiful meaning, So very uplifting. So that was Gayatri mantra. And the next Bhagwan says that among the months, he said, I'm Marga Shirsha months. And that's my Vibhuti. So, it's like everywhere, Bhagwan, wherever you see months, year, anything, Bhagwan is there. Kuch unhone, no stone unturned, for the Vibhutis. So, which months they said? So there are 2 different things I saw. One was November, December, and one was December, January. It's like, end and beginning of the Western calendar also. That significance you can say. But why did Bhagwan say, and it's called Marg Shirsh. And so we have to, mainly they said December, January, but somewhere around there. Start with November, you can say. So it's a most beautiful month. And I was just thinking about it, that here in San Diego also, the most brilliant skies are there in November, December. Those red, yellow, purple, it's just, and just beautiful it is. And a lot of rainbows occur around that time too, because I have a lot of pictures. Since I live, near the ocean, I see so many times. And I was thinking about this, it's so gray these days for the last couple of months, even though it's winter months, but it's the most beautiful scenery. That just happened. And Bhagwan is saying it's my Vibhuti, so that's why I was mentioning it. That it's associated, why Bhagwan said it, because all the saints and sages said these months are associated with clarity and abundance, something to do with, like, जो बोलते हैं ना कि दिमाग में ज़्यादा जाएगा if you study or devotion भी ज़्यादा आएगा. Auspicious time it's considered for worship and chanting and things like that. And they say that in Mahabharata is mentioned, in the Puranas also it's mentioned, that during these months, the divine energies are especially accessible out of the whole year. And it was another very interesting thing. The Geeta was delivered in Margshish months, and I was looking, I said, okay, when is Geeta Jayanti? This year is December 1, this year. So that's the day Krishna delivered Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. It was Margshish. That was very significant. And, Madhusudan Saraswati, for Saraswati ji, he said that this had an esoteric meaning. Marg matlab kya? Path, right? Margshish, month kyun bola unko? Shirsh means head. So how do we say a head of? It is the crown of the paths. So even the meaning has, always the Sanskrit words have like very deep meanings, and there is like a lot of gyan in the meaning also. So crown of all paths. That's why it is said Margshish. So what does it symbolize when go in symbolism? Beginning of the inner awakening. That's how it symbolizes. Like the seekers can start introspection, and then a slowly blooming happens from within, something like that. A favorable time for sadhana and devotion, you can say. And for people who like to do rituals, it's a very auspicious time to do those external rituals and religious acts and all that. And obviously people, for Gyan Margis, it is like awakening, inner awakening. That's why it's called the head of the spiritual path, Margshish. So that's what he talked about for the months. And then the last one is very simple. Everybody will agree. Among all the seasons, if you have to pick one season, Vasant Ritu, spring season, all the flowers, धरती से बाहर आ जाते हैं, जो छुपे हुए होते हैं, कुछ भी, whichever way, poetic way you want to see it. He's saying that it's almost like they're hiding, and when the spring season comes, they burst out. And we live in the area, all of us live in the area, they call it the super blooms. People go to see. And first time when I was driving over there, I said, wow, these mountains are orange and yellow. That year, we had just moved over here. We used to visit San Diego before, but that year when I was driving on 15, we were going somewhere, and I couldn't believe the scenery. They look like those Mahatmas in those orange color robes or something. They look amazing. So that's what I'm saying. The spring season suddenly comes and everything starts blooming. And Nikhilanandji was saying that even if you put fertilizers before, flower will not come until the season comes. That's the beauty. It suddenly blooms. So some symbolism and things like that. So when he said, this is called Kusuma Karaha. Kusum is flowers. Actually, that's how the words came. Season of flowers, it's called. So Vasant Ritu is obviously very beautiful. And Nikhilanandji say, it's like Prithvi has done Shringar. Hindi mein bolte na, dulhan ki tarah saj gayi hai dharti. All the poets, they write so many things on it. Decorates herself, as ornaments of flowers. That's what that is so beautiful. And what does this symbolize? A blossoming of joy, renewal of life kind of thing. So life is a vibhuti of Bhagwan. You're feeling the joy, and there's so many festivals happen around spring season and all that. और वो बोलते हैं ना सावन के झूले ये वो I think spring से कुछ शुरू होता है वो सब. And so what does the spring season represent? Beauty, joy, hope, vital energy of nature. Those are the things, symbolism. And so when Krishna says that he's spring, he as though he's affirming his presence, in creative exuberance, nature's joy, all those things he's saying. So now what are the saints and sages say about it? That Madhusudan Saraswati ji says that in spring, nature rejoices, mirroring the joy as though in the heart of devotees. Devotees have filled with love of God, right? That's what it's mirroring, the joy. The whole dharti is like mirroring that. And then just like flowers bloom naturally in the same way in the hearts of devotee, when the inner climate is favorable, everything is like nice, and in the climate you are purified, you have done your sadhana, then devotion blooms. I thought that was such a beautiful symbolism, for by him. And then, so what does spring becomes like a metaphor for the awakening of prema bhakti, like loving devotion. That's what he said. Ripening of the prema bhakti it represents. And then, full bloom of devotion kind of thing. That's what he said. So these were the 4 different things he talked about. So if you overall look at this verse, we can say that divine can be recognized in music and poetry, chandas, time, because time of the year, and nature, and beauty lies all around. And even the months and seasons he talked about month and then he talked about seasons, right? In this verse, they have spiritual dimensions to it, that we can take help for our sadhana. Look at the vibhuti, So somebody mentioned very nicely that it's like it could be taken as a meditative map of spiritual progress for us, the sacred sounds and, to full bloom devotion kind of thing. That's what this whole verse is about. Any question or comment on these 4 vibhutis? Okay. No question, no comment. All right, so who is going to read Swamiji's commentary? Any volunteers? Anil bhai.
Among hymns, also I am the Brihat Sama. Among meters, Gayatri am I. Among months, I am parts of November, December, Margshirsha. Among seasons, I am the flowery spring. Of the Samans, I am the Brihat Sama. The songs of the Samaveda are called the Samans. These hymns are all in different meters, and they are to be sung in different tunes. It is no easy task, and the students who can sing well the Samans are those who spend years of practice at the feet of their master. Of all the meters that are met with the volume of the Samveda, the most difficult and the complicated is the meter called Brati. And the Samans composed in the Brati meter are called the Brihat Sama.
So I explained the whole thing, right? So Brihat Sama is the most complicated, most exalted, most important one out of all the different samas. And now that we are doing Taittriya Upanishad, the last part, wo bhi ek sama hi hai. Remember he's singing and Song of Enlightenment it's called, ha, woo, I don't know how to sing. So if I sing, sab bhag jayenge. So I'm not going to even try. But whoever knows how to sing can learn how to sing that. So that's what it is. So here, among the samas also, that is the most important one. That's what it is, yeah.
Of all the meters, I am Gayatri. Talking of meters, Bhagavan seems to have all of a sudden remembered that there are different varieties of meters, and of them, Gayatri is considered as the most divine and extremely powerful. Gayatri is a meter composed of in 3 lines, each fulfilled in 8 syllables. This meter is considered in India in great esteem and with an added sense of divinity because the most famous hymn glorifying the sun, Savitra, is chanted by all Brahmins in their morning and evening ablutions is composed in this meter.
So we saw the glory of Gayatri Mantra, and then I think what I heard, and you guys can do some research, Ramayana, I think, has 24,000 verses. And each chapter or something starts with the Gayatri Mantra ka first letter. There's so much science in all these things, and how it is laid out, we will be just shocked. We will not be able to comprehend. But that all these saints and sages, there's a big harmony among them. So these letters of Gayatri Mantra are very powerful. We may not understand all of it, but Bhagwan is saying it's my Vibhuti, so you can understand. But there's a lot more in Gayatri Mantra than what meets the eye. That's all I wanted to bring, And anyway, and then you can go to that footnote, and then you can read the meaning that Swamiji said over there.
Bhurvaswaha tatsaviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na prachodaya.
The meaning is not there in yours?
No, not.
Okay, so anybody has the meaning who can read it? Meenaji, in your book it's there? Yeah, go ahead and read. And it's Yajurveda, it says 36.3, so it's part of the Yajurveda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. May we contemplate upon the supremely excellent, sin-destroying energy of the resplendent one who is all that was, is, or shall ever be, and the beyond, who provides 3 regions, universe, and the forces operating therein, who is all knowledge, who sustains the creation in health and plenty, who is the creator of the universe and moves it bound by his laws, that he may direct our understanding along the path which leads to the supreme goal.
So here Swamiji has really expanded the meaning to a very beautiful thing. So basically what it's saying is, may we contemplate upon the supremely excellent, sin-destroying energy of the resplendent, that's the word he uses all one. So we are looking at the sun, and we are trying to see God in that sun. That's what it is. And provides 3 regions, because when we did the Taittriya in the beginning, remember, Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, and it's not Swaha, because some people say Swaha, it's Swaha. Swaha is the 3 different lokas, here, Swarglok, and in between, something like that, we have to go back to the Taittriya to see what those 3 lokas exactly are. So, that it is, provide 3 regions and the forces operating there, and we saw all the different forces, who is all knowledge, that Bhagwan is all knowledge, who sustains the creation in health and plenty. We get everything that we have from that God, so that's what we are praying, who is a creator of the universe and moves, is bound by these laws. We know, we saw that. There is a lawmaker over there. And then that he may direct our understanding along the path. वो हमको बुद्धि दे, हमारी बुद्धि को प्योर करे ताकि हम समझ सके everything. Because that is the main prayer. If you have a good buddhi, you got it made, because that will take you to moksha. And it will also kind of help us to manage in our life. If you have a proper buddhi. That's the prayer. So whoever is saying this mantra, we know the meaning, that will be so helpful for us,
Umaji, is it true that in the beginning this mantra was limited to Brahmins only?
Swamiji doesn't believe in all those things. That's why he's bringing the Vedas to all of us. So these were some rules they were made. I'll tell you why. Because, some people, if you don't do it correctly and all, not with devotion, it kind of, you're insulting the mantra. So then they made these rules, but it's not like that. Anybody, anywhere, but you have to have a pure heart, So that's what it is, if you ask me. I don't think that there is, women cannot do this or other castes, nothing like that. Anybody can pick up to connect with God, and this is the simplest mantra. Like we were talking about it, Bhagwan said, my vibhuti among all the yagnas are japa yagna. You can take Gayatri mantra as a japa yagna, which a lot of saints and sages say you can do anywhere, anytime, But you have to have that devotion in the heart. But in India, they make all these rules. I personally don't buy that, and I don't think that Swamiji also. Otherwise, he would have not brought all these things to all of us. That's my answer, but,
In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is a glorification of Gayatri, and the passage concludes thus: this Supreme who is indicated in the Gayatri is all-pervading, omniscient, and eternal. He who understands Gayatri in this way attains full and unending prosperity.
So this is talking about Chandogya Upanishad, and because they have mentioned, because it is such a significant chanda that they have mentioned in different Upanishads, that this Supreme who is indicated in the Gayatri, who they are talking about, is that Brahman, which is all-pervading, omniscient, and eternal. If you understand the Gayatri this way, obviously you will be you have oneness with the world, right? We were talking about that song of enlightenment this person is singing. That you have unending prosperity, because the way they look at prosperity may be different than what we look at it. Overall prosperity you will have. You will not feel abhav of anything. Let's put it this way. Because when you say prosperity, it's a very relative thing. Somebody can feel happy with very little and feel totally satisfied, and somebody can have all the material thing and be totally, miserable. So here when they're talking of prosperity, this is the bhav that they have inside. That's what we have to see.
In the Brihat Upanishad, also there is substantial portion which describes in its typical language meditation of the cosmos and its substratum through Gayatri. Manu too has extolled Gayatri. The most exalted creator milked out this Gayatri from 3 Vedas. He who relentlessly repeats it daily for 3 years, unwearied, attains the supreme Brahman, moves free like air, and becomes subtle bodied like Akash.
So Brihat Aranyaka Upanishad. So Chandogya में भी उसका mention है. So how important this Gayatri mantra is. It describes that this is like, it's a typical language, meditation on the cosmos and its substratum through Gayatri. Substratum is the same as Brahman, right? And then Manu has exalted Gayatri. Manu Smriti mein hoga, I'm not sure, but obviously Swamiji is saying, so I think he's mentioning that Manu Smriti. The most exalted creator milked out the Gayatri from the 3 Vedas. So it is like the Sar of the 3 Vedas. And they now we call it 4. The 4th one came later, but 4 Vedas you can say. And the one who, repeats this daily for 3 years, because they are encouraging people to connect to Gayatri mantra. So don't take it literally that, somebody just sits and chants, without any bhavna, then say, nothing is happening. Obviously, you got to have some connection to it and all, then it will happen. But they will say, this is what I have to say. Suppose if your bhavna is not there, suppose if you start chanting mechanically also, the bhavna will eventually come. That is the power of these things, That's how. So usme bhi kuch hoga zarur. And then move free like an air and become subtle bodied like Akasha. It's a symbolic thing. You will feel free. You will not have all these. Don't think कि मैं आकाश में उड़ने लगूंगी, nothing like that. Huh? But you will feel free like an air, and you will feel light like an akash. You will not feel burdened in your life. I think that's a great thing to feel like that. Free, some chutti like that. We will feel chutti in our mind. We won't feel burdened. Yeah.
Modi, I went to Arya Samaj with my grandfather. Gayatri Mantra was the central theme of the morning rituals. You start with Gayatri Mantra. All the havans were all basically centered around Gayatri Mantra, and you end with Gayatri Mantra.
Amazing. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that India, अगर हम लोग हिंदुस्तान से आए हैं, इंडिया से, तो गायत्री मंत्र तो सभी को मालूम है. Right? हर जगह है.
So I remember it, no question, but this is how the Arya Samaj, the morning ritual would be.
Yeah. So its significance is like every path. No, India mein there are so many different ways they connect to God. All of them, they give importance to Gayatri Mantra, absolutely. And there are so many, people have sung so many, and it's just a beautiful thing. And, the next generation, my son, he had me listen to all these white people singing Gayatri Mantra with all kinds of things. And when his first son was very, very little, sometimes he would cry and he would put these Western people singing Gayatri Mantra, I'll become quiet. So he said, oh yeah, he also started believing in it. And our son has grandson has memorized it because he heard it so many times in his childhood. He also knows this mantra. So it's great. I think we should connect to it, whichever way we like to with it. Yes.
Of all the meters, none has been so uniformly glorified everywhere as Gayatri, and no mantra has had so far the privilege of being chanted by so many devotees continuously for such a long number of years in any other religion in the world.
See, whatever Naresh you were saying, this is what's happened. This is one mantra that has been chanted the maximum. And India में अगर 1 billion people है, so you can imagine कि कितना chanting होती है इसकी. Maybe किसी ने बोला कि our Acharya from Houston used to say that, you hear such bad news ना कि ये हो रहा है, war हो रहा है, झगड़े हो रहे हैं दुनिया में. ऐसा लगता है कि दुनिया से मिटी जाएगी. Right? If you keep listening to the news. But these saints and sages, by their pure mind and all this chanting and all that, they are holding this world together. Because they keep the balance for us. That's why we are surviving. नहीं तो हम लोग ने तो कभी का सब कुछ खत्म कर दिया होता, But they are the one because of these mantras and all that.
Of the months, I am Margshesha. This corresponds to parts of the English calendar months of November and December, which are the months in India when people have forgotten the fatiguing summer they have lived through, and they do not start complaining about the cold winter.
So Swami ji ने उसका practical meaning भी बता दिया कि these months are they are India में because it's so hot. I think if you go to south and all that, those are the best months, right, to go travel in the winter over there. They call it so-called winter. It's like other people in Russia and all, they will say this is like a joke. They call that a winter because for them it's like freezing. Anyway, basically it is everybody's happy mood kind of thing. And we saw that even in the West, they have their Christmas and all, right? So this Margshesha is not just for उनका हानुका, Christmas वगैरह सब कुछ वही टाइम पे है. सोचो जरा, Yeah, go ahead.
Of the seasons, I am the flower-bearing spring. Spring with its colorful message and fragrant songs gives a thrill to all prospects wherever one may turn in India. Flower valleys clothe the hills, crops cover the fields. Tanks and pools get strewn with lotus and lilies. The meadows look like carpets of grass. There is an air of celebration and festivity in the hearts of all. And in order to crown the joyous spirit in the world, the moon seems to dress herself in more glory than is usual with her.
So, Swami ji ne puri poetry likh di, right? About the spring season, And I think there are so many festivals that come, and here also they call it the red moon and the blue moon and pata nahi kya bolte hai na, brightest moon we saw. So all those things probably happen in the spring. Just we know that's a beautiful season, yeah.
not only am I to be recognized among the majestic and the divine, among the beautiful and the charming, but even among the lowest of the low, I am what I am, for listen.
Swamiji is preparing ourselves for the next verse. He's going to talk about gambling. Because, see, this is interesting because he's talking to Arjuna. And you know, the gambling was a problem over there. So the gambling maybe main hu. So anyway, when we come to that, we will discuss all that. But right now, it's all goody stuff, you know, Vasant Ritu, this, that. But we know that Bhagwan is a substratum for everything. So this is what it is. Any question? Any comment about this? We are slowly inching away towards the end. Yeah, almost. It was a very poetic, long journey, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, do these Vibhuties.
Umaji, in Makar Sankranti, that's also in January, and I can't remember, but Meeraji had found some answer for that Makar Sankranti, what happens, you know?
Makar Sankranti, I think some kind of...
that's on 14th of January.
Yeah, some sun का कुछ change होता है और कुछ ऐसा है, right? मेरे को exactly technical नहीं मालूम है, मगर you are right, and I think Makar Sankranti is celebrated all over India. उसका नाम अलग-अलग दिया है उसको.
Right.
You know, so different people, and that's interesting that you said. So that is also Marg Shirsh में होता है. So a lot of significance, yes. ऐसे तो सभी भगवान के ही विभूति है, मगर you know, some months are more special.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe whoever does the research on it can share it in that Upanishad class about Makar Sankranti. That'll be interesting to learn. Because sometimes we celebrate all these festivals. For the longest time, we don't know why. You know? And even in America, sometimes it's like people, when there are certain days come, Memorial Day, people are just thinking about going and partying and drinking and all that. Hey, Memorial Day is for people who lost their lives. First, salute them. Think about them, you know. July 4th, also it's a freedom. So, same way, Indian festival, if we go to the depth of it, we will feel so happy and we will learn new things. It's like the Navratri. In India, if you go, they're only thinking about Garba, dancing and wearing this nice clothes. Great. But what is that dance of joy? You know, first learn that after you get enlightenment, like this guy singing, that is the dance of joy. Then you do Garba. Before that, you do all the sadhana. So it's interesting what you got in. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So if no other question or comment, then I will close Bhagavad Gita here. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम.